If Ronaldo Nazário in his prime was around today, in a world where Declan Rice and Jack Grealish cost over £100 million, how much would a team need to spend in order to sign R9? In this video, I'm going to ask ChatGPT that exact question and compare to what the average football fan might guess, me being the average football fan, and hopefully you in the comments as well. We're going to take a look at a few things. We're going to compare what R9 was sold for in his prime. We're going to check inflation from back in his prime to today. We're going to take a look at similar players of similar quality, which I don't think there is any, and how much they have been sold for in the current market, and then try and predict how much R9 will be worth compared to what AI predicts his value is. So let's rewind. The first thing that we need to look at is Ronaldo Nazario's career in isolation, where he came from and what he achieved. By the age of 17, Ronaldo was already tearing Brazilian defences apart for Cruzeiro, and his first big chance came when PSV Eindhoven signed him in 1994-95. They paid €5.47 million for him, going off these stats on transfermarket.co.uk. So how did he do at PSV? Well, according to these stats, he scored 54 goals in 57 games. That was at the age of 17, his first big chance in Europe. Then after PSV, Barcelona started sniffing around the young talent. In 1996, they paid the equivalent of €15 million for R9. And at the time, he was just 19 years of age. But honestly, as someone who watched his career in real time, he was like an alien that had dropped out of space. He was only at Barcelona for one season, and he scored 47 goals in 49 games. He's almost averaging a goal a game as a 19-year-old player for one of the biggest teams in Europe, if not the biggest. And remember, this wasn't like it is now. This is in the 90s when defenders could literally kick your head off and get away with it. By 21, he'd won 2 FIFA Player of the Year awards. And by 23, he was literally the most feared striker on the planet. And he'd won a Ballon d'Or. Eventually, he transferred to Real Madrid for the biggest transfer fee that anyone paid for him. This was for €45 million back in 2002. And this is the year he won the World Cup, was top scorer in the World Cup, won the Golden Boot and the Ballon d'Or. So €45 million in 2002, which was at his absolute peak as a player. So that's the first question we're going to ask ChatGPT. So €45 million in 2002 is roughly equivalent to €73 million in 2025. So that's just on inflation calculations alone, but we're not considering the inflation calculations of how players are currently valued in today's market. So of course that isn't the fee that I'm going to guess. I think to understand his value in today's market, you really need to understand how special Ronaldo Nazário was. He was almost as fast as Mbappe. He was a better finisher than Erling Haaland. He could dribble like Messi. He could pick the ball up in midfield, run past 4 defenders, and then slot it in the bottom corner, and he could do it almost every single game. He was almost the perfect footballer. We're not talking about a goal poacher or a target man here. We're talking about the ultimate complete striker. There's a reason that R9 is still today probably the face of football. And the craziest thing about his career is that he was injured for most of it. Whilst he played for Inter Milan before he signed for Real Madrid, Ronaldo Nazário had a career-ending injury. Doctors said that it was the worst injury they'd ever seen and that he'd never play again. For me, injuries robbed Ronaldo of being the greatest ever footballer to walk on a football pitch. Yeah, and I'm including Messi and Ronaldo in that statement. But even despite these injuries, he came back. He wasn't quite as lightning fast, but he was still good enough to be the star player in a World Cup that he won and scoring 2 goals in the final against Germany. Even a half-fit R9 was unstoppable for the rest of the world, which does make you wonder if he'd have stayed healthy after that, how many Ballon d'Ors and World Cups would he have won? So taking that into account, let's take a look at some of today's transfers and see how he compares to those players. Neymar to PSG in 2017, which was £198 million or the equivalent. We've got Declan Rice, £105 million to Arsenal. We've got Kylian Mbappe, who went from Monaco to PSG for I think over 100 million. And then PSG rejected offers of 200 million from Real Madrid before his contract ran down and he went on a free. And then we've got Jude Bellingham, £115 million to Real Madrid at just the age of 19. Now, don't get me wrong, these players are great players, but they are not Ronaldo Nazário. None of them had his output, his raw talent, even his marketability and his aura. So let's imagine R9 burst onto the scene today. Let's play it out and see what would happen. Whilst he was still in Brazil as a young prospect, Premier League and Saudi clubs would no doubt be sniffing after him already. And to be signed by PSV in the current market, I can safely say I'm putting a price tag of £20 million on him at that point. And that to me is being conservative. I'm lowballing it there. Now this is where it gets interesting. At PSV today, he scores 54 goals in 57 games. Barcelona may very well have paid 100 million for R9 at that point, just like PSG did for Mbappe. 54 goals in 57 games in Europe in a proven league is something that Barcelona would not get cheap. And then after that first season in Barcelona, 47 goals in 49 games. To me, I think this is where his value would just explode. I don't think Barcelona would let go of a player like that. Now let's put that in perspective. We're talking about a 20-year-old striker who is almost scoring a goal per game for Barcelona in a proven league and the Champions League, who's dribbling like Lionel Messi and being signed and getting sponsorship deals with Nike. To me, that would eclipse Neymar to PSG money. Now let's put a figure on it. I think at that point, I can confidently say that he would be worth 150 to 200 million at a minimum, averaging a goal a game at Barcelona. And honestly, I think that still might be a bargain for the player that he was. Because let's just remember, it's not just about goals, it's about stardom, marketability, and star power. Ronaldo Nazário was football in its essence. His influence on the game, even though he was injured for half his career, is still evident now. Take a look at the haircut that he did in 2002 for the World Cup. Every kid was copying that haircut. He was the David Beckham of South Americans. The Nike commercials, the video games. He was the first footballer back in the day to become a true superstar of the game before David Beckham. And in today's world with TikTok, Instagram and shirt sales, to me, he'd be breaking every single commercial record. His transfer fee at that point might be worth about 250 million, but his sponsorship and marketing value would be even bigger than that. And I'm still not taking into account the fact that the market is bigger than just Europe anymore. The Saudis are throwing £300 million offers at players left, right and centre at the moment. Lionel Messi's turning down billion-dollar contracts to play there. Now imagine what they would offer Ronaldo Nazário with his stardom and his talent in his prime. When Cristiano Ronaldo signed for Al Nassr for €200 million per year, I don't even think the number exists for what R9 would be worth in today's market. I think maybe 400, 500 million. And let me know in the comments if you think I'm being far-fetched, but only let me know if you've actually watched Ronaldo Nazário, if you've actually seen his stats and you've actually looked at how he used to play and you looked at how popular he was in the world. Because as good as Haaland and Mbappe and Jude Bellingham are, they are not Ronaldo Nazário. So let's see what ChatGPT thinks of Ronaldo Nazario's potential valuation. Can you tell me what you think Ronaldo Nazário would be sold for in today's transfer market in his prime? Consider inflation, current stars like Declan Rice and Haaland, and his superstar power. Give me an exact valuation, please. So let's see what they have got to say. What R9 cost back then in 1997, Inter bought him for $27 million. In 2002, $46 million to Real Madrid. Euros, sorry. Inflation, 46 million. They've gone about this the same way I would. Would be worth 73 million. But the football market has grown much faster than normal inflation. In 2002, the world record was 46 million euros for R9. In 2024, the world record fees are 120 million to 135 million euros for Caicedo, Declan Rice, etc. Bellingham and Haaland are north of 200 million in today's valuation. The relative value of world record transfer has roughly tripled or quadrupled compared to 2002. R9 sport and profile in today's terms: skill set, complete striker, pace, dribbling, finishing, flair, 2 Ballon d'Ors, FIFA World Player of the Year, marketability, Nike, global football icon, social media, Messi and Ronaldo would rival Messi and Ronaldo. Major knee problems do play a role in this. Comparison with today's stars: Erling Haaland valued over 200 million, Jude Bellingham over 250, Mbappe over 250. R9 in 97 to 2002's prime was the least impactful of these players. Was at least as impactful as these players, arguably more revolutionary. So the exact valuation, if R9 were sold today in his prime with full health and hype, they've come in at 240 million euros, which to me is insane because he is well better than Mbappe and Bellingham put together in my eyes. That places him just above Haaland, slightly below Bellingham, which feels fair. He'd command the record-breaking fee. He'd be seen as the most complete striker alive. His brand power in 2025 terms would be colossal. R9 in his prime would be worth around 240 million in today's transfer market. Interesting that that's what they've got to say. 240 million euros. I don't agree with that. I think he would be worth maybe even double, but let me know what you think in the comments below. ChatGPT is on one today. ChatGPT must be a Cristiano Ronaldo fan, in my opinion. But let me know what you've got to say in the comments and how much you think he's going to be worth. As an artist, I've drawn Ronaldo Nazário many times. If you want to check out my full collection of foam wallpapers, which you can download for free, including Ronaldo Nazario's illustrations, check out my website. The link is in the description below. And if there's anyone else you want me to take a look at and break down, just put it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, you might also enjoy this video as well. Have a boss day, and I'll see you all in the next video.